Thank you for joining me today. I will be presenting on the blockchain startup Data, which is looking to monetize your data. In the last 2 years, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data, roughly about 90% of the world data, were created. The amount of data collected grows faster than the world economy and represents a valuable economic asset. Although you are the one creating this data, the data is owned by large private organizations stored in silos, making it susceptible to selling, hacking, or other exploits. You, the creator of this data, lose control of your data when agreeing to use services such as Facebook or Instagram. Now, despite the monetization of personal and business data, the only person in the chain not getting paid for this data is the actual creator of the data. It doesn't really seem fair. Data aims to revolutionize the existing data market by shifting the power dynamic to the creators of the data and giving them control over how and when their data is used. Data proposes a secure smart contract blockchain, allowing creators of data to take control of all the data they create, while providing companies who might need to use this data a secure access to the data while respecting the data owner's terms. Datum envisions 4 types of stakeholders. Data owners pay to have data encrypted and stored in the network, storage nodes to be paid to become a part of the Datum network and are paid with tokens for mining transactions. The data buyers provide some type of reward to data owners to access their data. And finally, the token holders govern and enable transactions on the network. So how does Datum work? In this slide, you can see that users submit data, it gets encrypted and stored. A smart contract details the terms of use from the data owners, and buyers acquire the data if the terms of the user met, and users get paid by the data buyers. You could ask yourself, do we really need to use blockchain to achieve this data exchange? This blockchain decision path helps us figure that out. Do we have a need for a common shared database? Yes. Are multiple parties involved? Yes. The data owners, the data buyers, the storage nodes. Do parties involved have conflicting incentives? Yes. Companies want all your data at no price, so this allows you to govern those rules. Rules governing participants different? Just as explained, yes. Data owners, data buyers, and storage nodes each have different rules. Is there a need for an immutable log? Yes. This way you can see exactly what's happening to your data and when. The rules of transactions don't change frequently? No, they don't. So now that we have made it through the first 6, we see that we do need a blockchain, and more specifically, a permission blockchain, because transactions are not public. Buyers should need permission to access your data. Now that we have decided that blockchain is the right way, what are some of the benefits and disadvantages of using data? Datum has 4 main strengths. Smart contracts auto-execute when the terms are met, increasing the efficiency of the network. The consensus algorithm, the decentralized proof of stake, rewards tokens based on a particular contribution, reducing energy consumption and the risk of a 51% attack. Datum will only mint 51% of their tokens, and the others will be retained by founders to grow the business. This further reduces the risk of the 51% attack. And Datum also provides incentives to behaving honestly, giving data owners, data buyers, and the storage nodes trustworthiness ratings. Higher ratings lead to more money and more access to data if you are buying. There are some drawbacks to blockchain storage and monetization of data. 1. Your data is online forever. Because your data exists among all the nodes, it makes it nearly impossible to delete, and regulations such as GDPR call for allowing users to delete their data from a network. Datum is not resistant to hacks. Although networks grow stronger from learning for these vulnerabilities, they are still vulnerable to hacks. And because blockchain is still a new technology, the transaction cost and energy consumption is still too high to make it a mainstream technology. Although there are some drawbacks to blockchain storage and monetization of data, there are opportunities to succeed. Being the first mover into this data monetization realm gives you secure market share and positioning against incoming rivals. Once adoption increases, the increasing number of users can insist on their data being stored and accessed solely on data, which could lead to a sort of monopolistic hold on the market. And the technology behind Datum has many use cases as well. We could develop an app to match organ donors to recipients, or maybe medical trial holders to trial participants looking to participate in these trials. With opportunities, though, also come threats. If another company beats Datum to the market with a fully viable product, Datum will lose out on first mover advantages. The threat of security is never ending. Because Datum is dealing with such sensitive information, one security breach could lead to the company downfall. And finally, regulations. As governments work toward defining regulations for blockchain, one of these regulations could make Datum obsolete. Maybe if them force the ability to be able to delete your data from the network, Datum might not be that popular of a product. There are various aspects that can be changed to make Datum a better investment. Often a startup like Datum should take time to figure out if decreasing certain aspects might help. One such instance would be decreasing the scope of the project. At the moment, Datum wants to collect and store all possible data for all possible uses out there. Maybe hyper-focusing on a particular use case would allow for Datum to work out the kinks and then focus on scaling the viable product. Datum also expects widespread adoption throughout industries. There's going to be a lot of industry pushback if you're taking their power away. If companies decide not to use Datum or buy any of the data that it has no future. Another suggestible change would be to decrease the amount of tokens founders keep. By keeping 49% of the tokens, they're very liable to be able to manipulate the value of said token. As stated in the previous slide, Datum needs companies to want to use Datum for it to be successful. Increasing corporate investment could be one way to do this. By partnering with a company on the development of the network, you tie their success to yours. Another suggestion would be making more company information available. It is currently very hard to find data on the location of the company executives, or more detailed information about the technology behind Datum. What does Datum need to create to succeed? First and foremost, a working version of the app. Registering yourself currently for the network via the application is not working, so there is no way for you to expect an adoption increase if your application isn't working. Currently, there are about 3 billion tokens within the data system. With a startup at such an early stage with no real adoption, it doesn't make sense to have that many tokens, and it could even end up diluting the value of the token. Cutting the amount of tokens by 50% and issuing more as the app gains transaction would make more sense. After having provided you an overview of Datum and what it does well and what could do better, comes the most important part. Should you invest? Currently, I would say no. Given the current state of affairs, it is too early to know if this blockchain startup makes sense in the way it is being developed. Datum needs to give a much more detailed explanation of the underlying technology, those working on the project and their experience, and it needs more industry partners to push it forward. Who's to say anyone will actually want to buy anything from Datum? Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoy this presentation.